You're watching Channel M today, and with me now is Geoff Muirhead. Geoff is the Chief Executive of the Manchester Airports Group. Welcome to Channel M today.
Thank you.
Tell us, first of all, the group is not just Manchester, is it? What else are you responsible for?
Well, there's 4 airports in the group. Apart from Manchester, there's East Midlands Airport, Humberside Airport and Bournemouth Airport.
OK. But the one we're concerned with, because we're a Greater Manchester channel and it's the Greater Mancunians that predominantly use it, is the one down the M56, and it's quite an asset you've got there, isn't it?
It's a very good airport, I think, a very big one.
Well, you would say you run it. I mean, explain for those that don't know the ownership structure, because for many the airport is something you visit maybe once, twice a year, you fly out for your holidays, you come back and you think, well, yes, it's improved and the facilities are terrific. But actually, Greater Mancunians own it, don't they?
Yeah, all of them. All of Greater Manchester collectively owns the airport. Manchester City itself owns 55% of the shares, and the other 45% is shared out 5% equally to the other 9 districts of Greater Manchester.
So if the airport does well, Greater Manchester does well?
Well, Greater Manchester's been doing very well for many years then.
Yes,
because
indeed.
the airport's been doing quite well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because, I mean, I was mentioning just briefly there that, you know, businesses are feeling the pinch and, you know, people aren't going on holiday. I mean, how are the figures? How's footfall through the airport at the minute?
Figures at the moment about 8-9% down year on year. It's tough trading. Tough trading in aviation right around the world, so we are no different. We're having to cope with a difficult time.
Because the airlines themselves suffer from increases in fuel and the like. I mean, that doesn't affect you directly, but if they don't fly, passengers don't come through.
Yeah, the airport doesn't operate aircraft. The airlines do that. We provide the facilities to make sure that, as far as we can, people's journeys through the airport is as pleasurable as we can make it.
And you're doing a pretty good job. I mean, we reported on, you know, the improvements that you've done to make, you know, the passenger experience better. And I think the airport experience is now part of the holiday. You know, is that the plan?
Well, it's to make it a pleasure again for people to go through airports. It became, I think, an airport generally became something to dread because of the way in which security and everything else that they had to go through in processing was unexpected. It was difficult. It was time-consuming. You were in one queue and another queue. Well, our idea is to get rid of as many queues as possible, make it as pleasant as possible again, and to make it part of something that people can look forward to.
And I think you've achieved that. I mean, when you came to the position as Chief Executive of the group, you had a vision, I think, for the kind of the transport infrastructure that would serve the airport. Are you where you want it to be yet? Just
about. We've invested a tremendous amount of money in trying to get people to come to and from the airport using public transport, I think, because there's not enough room for all the cars. Cars are also responsible for most of the pollution around an airport. About 60% of carbon emissions, for example, come from road transport around the airport, not from the airport or from the aircraft. It's quite amazing. So we've invested a lot of money in trying to get many more people coming by train or by bus or by coach, and we've moved up from just below 9% of people coming that way to 23% now come to the airport that way.
I mean, there was talk during the congestion charge debate about selling the airport and using that money to invest in the public transport infrastructure of Greater Manchester. I don't know whether you were pro or anti that.
I was pro the investment.
Clearly.
I think that was a vital thing for the Greater Manchester City region. I think the congestion charge was a price worth paying, but I was quite a low majority in that regard.
But selling the airport, you know,
well,
this is how,
like,
you know,
selling the crown jewels.
Once
it is still worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But last year the shareholders got £26 million of dividends. This year they're getting £20 million of dividends.
And let's remind people that's the people of Greater Manchester and the boroughs that are benefiting.
It is. So people at the city centre got £11 million this year, and the district's £1 million each. So that's something, if you sell the airport, you will lose. And I don't see why in Greater Manchester, because there's been the foresight to develop an asset like Manchester Airport, that it should have to be sold to do things which we should be doing anyway.
OK. What's its future then? I mean, you know, we've got the terminals, you've got the transport infrastructure where you want it. Where do you want to take it over the next few years? What changes will people who go through see in the next few years?
Well, we need to make sure that the service becomes as seamless as possible. I have this view that we should have a queueless airport. I think that's probably a bridge too far, but it's an aspiration we should shoot for. People should look forward to going to the airport. They should be able to access the world from Manchester Airport. So new route development, the
Do you bid for that? Will you go to an airline and say, please put a direct flight on from Manchester to wherever in the world it is? You pitch for it?
So long as we believe it will work, yes, we will, because that's our job, is to provide accessibility. Our owners are not just interested in the dividends, they're also interested, as Greater Manchester, in economic benefits for the region. So routes around the world, they'll bring that as well. So there's 20,000 people working at the airport today.
So you're employing an awful lot of people and you're providing a lot of money for the airport, for the people of Greater Manchester, and yeah, more flights to direct flights around the world, please, on behalf of the Greater Manchester News. Geoff, very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.